Hmm. I think we're live. I cannot tell. I genuinely cannot. Let's give the page a refresher, see if it connected. Let's see if my stream's working. Oh god, I have no idea if we're on or not. Can't tell. Oh wait, there it goes. I have no idea if we're on or not. Can't tell. Well, it's working. Oh wait, there it goes. I have no idea if we're on or not. All right, so we just have to connect. Honestly, oh, that thumbnail, we should work on that. Some old Sonic shit. Look at that. This is back in the day, Sonic. Well, yeah, we're just doing a tingy ting. Doing a little funny fun. Oh my god, the fire emojis, all this stuff. Oh, let's check out how Homeboy's doing it here. Fun. Oh my god, the fire emojis. So we're getting a little bit. I don't like the stream quality that I'm getting right now. Honest to God. It's a little hacky. It's a little. Well, we got that million thing of OBS. Whew. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so we're back on our stream. StreamYard bogus. We're not doing that anymore. We're just gonna direct stream like this with the cat. And yeah, so this is what we've been doing lately. Yeah, well, we're not public right now, so that's the biggest thing. You know, we're not public. I don't know how to add the chat yet, but we'll figure that one out. Yeah, yeah. Now I want to go live just, or like, we're doing this one again. Oh, hold up. He's doing it again.
It wasn't a nightmare. It's real. We continue to haunt this man 24/7. But forget about him, because this is about us. And this is about you potentially watching this, the fighters at home listening, because MVP just merged with PFL. We just created the first of its kind combat sports league that combines boxing and MMA together. Over the past few years at MVP, we've proven that we can do the big.
Pause. We literally just did that. Cage Titans literally just did that. What are you talking about? Like, we did boxing and MMA on the same show first. One ring, one cage. We did it last February. How many times do we have to keep doing this before anybody like notices that this is insane?
Biggest fights in the world, bar none. Paul Tyson, Serrano Taylor, Rousey Carano. In our first MMA event, we had 9 million viewers watching in the United States, compared to the UFC's 7 million at the White House card. And they've been doing this for AI logos, AI.
Okay, so when he's talking about like, oh yeah, like, okay. Thank you, Kitty. Actually, I think we're gonna go live. Live. Yeah, let's go live. Why not? Like, we know what the thummy is. We know what we're doing here. The camera situation could be better. I'm not gonna lie about that. But, you know, I'm okay with just doing YouTube for right now. Just checking it out. I don't know if, like, anybody can see if it's a public one or not. Is it a public stream or not? I have no idea. Let's see. Hold up. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm winging it, guys. I am straight. Oh, we are public. So we are public right now. We are doing this stuff live. I have been live this whole time. How embarrassing. But we're just trying OBS for the first time. If I got good sound, somewhat good video, please let me know. But back to Jake Paul real quick. I want to watch this.
30 years. Now we add in PFL, who has a world-class roster of hundreds of MMA fighters, and some of which are the best in the world. The UFC will no longer be the place where people judge fighters as to who the best in the world is.
So, okay, here's an interesting thing about this, because I've thought about this a lot. I got to give a shout out to Jalen Brown on his stream for saying something that really, I feel like, is not discussed enough, and it compares to MMA. This whole idea that JB said this, he said it's like, no, the NBA is not all the best players in the world. They're really not. It's a collection of some of the best players in the world and guys who have the potential to possibly be the best players in the world. But no, it's not the collection of the best basketball players in the world if you really know ball. MMA is the same way. The perception is that all the best fighters are in the UFC and that all other fighters outside of the UFC couldn't make it into the UFC, therefore they are not UFC level or could not compete in the UFC. Anybody who's been around the sport, who knows the greater sport than that, knows that it's like, no. The UFC doesn't have all the best fighters. They don't have all the best fighters. They've never had all the best fighters under their banner at one point in time. That's never been the case. And even right now, you can say it's like, yeah, they have the highest collection of some of the best fighters in the world. Do they have all the best fighters in the world? Absolutely friggin' not. No, they do not. Because that would be impossible. Because some of there are guys, to put it into perspective, I watch the UFC every weekend and I see guys that I know in gyms could be beaten right now by guys on the regionals. They're not getting their shot into the UFC though, for whatever reason. But anybody who knows ball knows. Like, we'll take it to the MVP MMA. The first fight that they had on that card with Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano was Bubba Jenkins. And Bubba Jenkins, amazing action style fighter. Love Bubba. He trains out of Vegas. Really, really cool dude. A guy from Cage Titans, Jojo Giannetti, our former welterweight and lightweight champion. Question mark kicked him in karate combat. Put him on a poster. That guy's still fighting in Plymouth. But he got to kick off. But Bubba Jenkins got to kick off the MVP MMA card. But that's what I'm trying to explain when people are like, "Oh man, all the best fighters in the world are in the UFC," or they're not all the time. Like, again, like I look at a guy like, I'm not hating. I feel like sometimes I've said this, like Terrence McKinney. I love Terrence McKinney. He's such a cool dude. He's such an awesome fighter. I wish there was more guys like him in the UFC, truthfully. But I know so many dudes outside of the UFC right now that would absolutely take care of him. And that's the reality. But he fights in the UFC consistently at a high level, but other guys aren't getting their opportunity. So when he's talking about this part of it, that all the fighters in the world won't be in the UFC. No, but that's true, because even arguably you could say it's like, well, how would Usman Nurmagomedov, the lightweight champion who's fighting tomorrow night, how would he do against Justin Gaethje? Current UFC, like, pretty good matchup, pretty solid match. Pretty solid match. I don't know if they still have him. Vadim Nemkov, light heavyweight and heavyweight. He runs through everybody in light heavyweight right now. Vadim Nemkov. Absolutely. He's outside of the UFC organization right now. He would do incredibly well over there. And then we also saw, again, like everybody's making a big deal out of Pernas coming out of KSW. Again, KSW, Octagon MMA, One Championship, Cage Warriors. All these promotions arguably have some of the best fighters in the world. Ryzen arguably has some of the best fighters in the world, and it's not exclusive to just the UFC. And I said this a few times now. There's just too much UFC dick riding, way too much. I love the UFC. I respect the UFC every single day. I'm a UFC fan, and I have nothing but cordial and nice things to say about the UFC. But the media does far too much UFC dick sucking. It's crazy. And I'm not even talking about the established media. I'm talking about like the little MMA meme pages. Like, in their minds, there's nothing outside the UFC. And it's a problem. It just shows their own casualness. Anyway, back to Jake, who I do feel slightly indebted to the world, too, for helping promote that first Nate Robinson fight. Sorry, guys.
And together, it only strengthens our mission to put fighters first. The news is so big, we had to go ring the NASDAQ bell, people.
The Wall Street Journal said that we want to pick a fight with the UFC. Wall Street Journal, we don't just want to pick a fight, we want to win the fight. Thank you.
We even partnered with a longtime enemy, Eddie Hearn. Yes, we're holding hands now, taking over.
Pause. Yo, what? Okay, I mean, you do you, Jake. Jake's a button pusher, bro. That's why you gotta respect his game, man. He doesn't care how you feel. He's gonna make everybody mad. And if everybody gets mad, everybody responds. The guy can work. The guy can promote. Oh my God, he knows how to push the buttons. But this is like almost a recall and a throwback to the first PFL video that he made that, if we recall, didn't actually pan out to the way that we expected. But this seems like, no, guys, it's different this time. No, it's so different this time. But actually, I'm really excited for MVP, MMA, and PFL. Like I say it all the time, I'm such a big fan of John Martin from PFL. Since he's come on, I've become a huge John Martin guy. I think he's took what was a very, very bloated, ridiculously underwater promotion, but he's somebody who genuinely loves MMA, genuinely loves this business, and genuinely loves this promotion. He loves his fighters. You can tell he's into every single one of his fights. In a way, that was the criticism for Don Davis for not knowing the fights enough. John does not have that criticism. John, if anything, it's like, dude, you care more about these fights, I think, than anybody, and that's what you need. And I'm a big fan of it. I think that the merger was a perfect idea. I think it's a great thing for the sport. And genuinely, when I have friends on the inside. I have friends on the inside who were at the last PFL DC event, and this was kind of what was the chatter around there. And props to the homies; they kept that all under wraps until it was time. You know, everybody knows. You know, you don't want to leak nothing you're not supposed to leak. Some things are said in confidence behind the scenes that you're not supposed to report on. So, credit to the media corps for not leaking this and letting this be the moment that it should have been. That's huge. I think that's huge. But back to the point, you know, I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about it because when MVP MMA first announced, it was like, okay, well, they're taking the boxing model, which is you put really heavy guys at the top of the card, and then you kind of fill out the bottom with some good action fights because you understand that people are mostly going to come for the main event attractions. That is what it's built around. It's largely what the boxing model has been, which is a largely fighters take, which is a fighter-friendly model. And I loved the model. I loved it. But the only thing about that is for a promotion, especially mixed martial arts, that's not sustainable long term. You need to be able to develop guys. You need to be able to create storylines, create rivalries, and create some consistency because that's what the sport is really predicated on. If you can get these mega events going off 4 times a year, that's great. But the reality of it is you need to build contenders. You need to build divisions for those 4 events each year to really hit. And that was my big. It's like you got to have smaller shows. You got to be able to scale down because, again, what they found at the Intuit Dome, and I think what MVP MMA found out very quickly, boxing versus MMA, is that MMA is not a hot ticket seller. It's not that hot a ticket seller. Even when you have a Ronda Rousey, a Francis Ngannou, I mean, like that card, and Nate Diaz, that card was stacked with stars. They still had a hard time filling that place because, again, MMA doesn't move tickets in the same way. I think, again, I'm bringing it back to my own work with Cage Titans. I've had people come to our shows and they see the sold out crowds, they see the engaged fan base, and they're going to be like, hey, go to other shows. I tell you, because you'll come back here and you'll see that that's not the rest of the industry. We're an anomaly at Cage Titans. We actually make money here. We sell tickets. We have fans. We have a developed roster. We have continued to keep developing and innovating within the space. Most other promotions, and not saying anyone's in particular, they suck. They're boring. They're really bad. And MMA by the numbers is retracting around the world. We all know this now. There's less shows in North America. There's less shows in Brazil, less shows in Asia, less shows in Europe than there have been year on year since COVID. That is a reality. So while the perception of the sport is that, oh, MVP, MMA, UFC, all this stuff, like, MMA is exploding. We just did the White House. It's like, well, yeah, guys. The reality is most other these promotions, they don't make money. They're not selling tickets. They don't have fan bases. They're not developing fighters. And now MMA media is so starved for anything that will drive them traffic, which is only the UFC, that no other promotion really gets any oxygen. Like they can't get any coverage because it doesn't draw any interest. Because the reality of this, and I think I've said this a billion times, Daniel Shoemaker, my guy, MMA in combat sports is the biggest thing in the world to us because we love it. But the reality of it is it's a very niche thing. It's very small. It's closer to NHL hockey and MLS soccer than it is to the NBA and NFL and MLB and soccer. That's just the reality. We're not that big. And most people don't care. Conor McGregor was the last big bump, and I was a little worried because it's like, this doesn't feel like a Conor McGregor fight week. I don't have people hitting me up. I don't have the same messages. The numbers for just doing Conor McGregor content weren't matching what we used to do when his last fight was on, when I was working over at Showtime, or with Showtime. And the Conor McGregor bump back in the day, dude, it's like, dude, when Conor was on, we were all eating good. And if he won, the plateau would those numbers would go up and plateau, and then we could build on that. But when he's doing what he's doing now, it goes up, then we're going back down, back to where we were. And that's not building the business forward. So this gives us an opportunity because, again, parity and more options. And again, like free agency, this is what makes the sport more exciting. Parity. raising the base floor. And again, now they're competing in multiple verticals. They're competing in boxing and they're competing in mixed martial arts. Will Jake Paul make a power slap league? Let's see. Maybe that's part of this.
AI.
No, go back.
Continuing to do business together. We signed Sky Nicholson to MVP, and this just goes to show the type of partnerships and things we will be doing moving forward, changing the game. The UFC has done great for shaping MMA, but the fighters are oftentimes left underpaid and put on a shelf if they don't obey the company's rules. Just look at Tom Aspinall, for example. John Jones, who should have fought on the UFC White House card. It has always been our mission.
Oh, wow, Jake, you're going right for it, though. Going right for it. I'm going to lose viewers when I talk about what I feel about UFC fighter pay. This is how I really feel, bro. This is how I feel. If you're not going to advocate for your own wage rights, why the fuck should I? Why should I? If you're not going to advocate on your own behalf. That's my whole thing. Unless fighters are willing to not fight, step back, and organize and unionize and barter, they're not going to get they're not going to get anything better. That's just the reality. And if you're not going to advocate for your own wage rights, it's not upon me. If it is a mercenary business, if it is every man for himself, let it be that. You eat what you kill, just like Dana says. He's not lying to you when he's coming into the UFC. It's like, yeah, dude, this contract's doing, we are owning your rights. You are a UFC fighter under this terms, and if you don't like it, you can go someplace else. Right now, there hasn't been an else place to go. Now there is, which we'll see. Again, you have to scale things back dramatically and slow build it and slow roll it, and really, I think the next 2 years is about what I loved that PFL did before this merger was they started signing some really good prospects. I mean, really good. One guy who's fighting tomorrow night, John Piersma, former Cage Titans welterweight champion, former on the UFC road to UFC. That was a guy who we all circled. It's like, this is a UFC level guy. If this was 2016, he would have been signed already. This is a joke. But PFL smartly says, no, that's a guy that we can build around, especially in the New York market. Tough dude, can talk, and has got credentials, has got a lot of stuff behind him. Piersma's a guy, and they signed a bunch of guys like that. So they have a bunch of guys that they can develop over the next 2 years. And if you look at the model of what they're doing with their middleweight division with Battle, Asaganai, Costa, and Costello, and then Eblin, it's you get into the characters. This is what the old UFC used to feel like, where it's like, oh, dude, I'm into, I know everybody in the division. Everybody's fighting each other. Everybody's making, that's what the sport is really predicated on. And if they can bring that back a little bit more, because I think that's one of John Martin's best things this year has been the middleweight division. They can bring that aspect to 125, 135, to the female divisions, especially because I think that can be a place they can really flank the UFC right now, because they haven't been putting a premium on WMMA, and WMMA is still a ticket seller, still a high social media draw. That might be a good lane for them, but also them open up flyweight. That's huge, man. There's so many good flyweights out there.
MVP to put fighters first and to put them on the biggest platforms in the world. And we have proven time and time again that we can do that. The problem has been that the fighters want to be as famous and as well known and build their brand as big as possible. But there was really only one place to go and do that in the sport of MMA. But sincerely, with this partnership with MVP and PFL, we have seriously changed the game. All hype and jokes aside, this has been our mission from the start. It's finally coming to fruition, and it couldn't have been possible without the fans at home, without Nikisa, without John Martin, the folks at PFL believing in our mission as well. And for the fans, this is massive for you as well, because we will never stray away from creating the biggest fights that fans want to see. There's clearly been a massive shift in combat sports over the last couple of years, and this puts us at the forefront of that shift as we continue to make change. Taking women's boxing and putting it into MVPW, partnering with ESPN, Sky Sports, Netflix, giving these women the opportunities of a lifetime that they absolutely deserve. To again, allowing fighters like Francis Ngannou and Nate Diaz another.
Didn't Francis Ngannou just walk on PFL? I guess he could bring it back on one-off deals. The expensive dude, and UFC just signed his opponent away. I swear to God, that was a dumb move by the managers. All he had to do was sit and wait for Ngannou. God, fire his management staff. Swear to God.
place to go where they can make even more money and get even more viewership. And with this announcement, we're doubling down on the momentum and creating a brand new generation of sports fans who demand sports, entertainment, and culture all in one place and on platforms that they already watch. And as a combat sports fan, I'm not just watching boxing. I'm not just watching MMA. I'm watching both. And now our fighters are able to compete.
Okay. Got something to say about that. Somebody who works in both boxing and MMA, who has worked in both fields. Boxing fans don't fucking like MMA. And they don't care. They don't know anything about it. MMA fans can't say the same thing. MMA fans actually know boxing. They respect boxing. They follow boxing. And boxing people, y'all don't know shit about MMA and you don't care. And that's fine. You guys stay in your bubble. You do your thing. I love boxing. I love boxing people. You're a specific type of people that we have to talk to in a certain type of way because you're very, very, very sensitive. But I'm just going to say this. The crossover fandom isn't there. It's just not. And I found this too because I work in pro wrestling too. And you would think the crossover is like, oh, if you like boxing, you like MMA, you must love pro wrestling. It's like, don't watch that fake shit. I don't watch that. It's very rare that you find a guy like me that likes all three, that gets all of them. Like it's very rare actually. Boxing people only like boxing. MMA people have more of a diverse palette. They tend to like boxing or like the top fights and understand it, and but they still have the same reservation feelings of like, why don't you guys take us seriously? Because boxing people literally don't talk to anybody outside of boxing. They're in their little boxing world in their boxing gym, stuck in their boxing nonsense. I love boxers though. It's the best martial art, I think, because we fight with your hands like a man, and we eat with our hands, and also, let's be real. I think it's the best martial art for what Chris Eubanks said, is that it's the only sport where you have to learn to receive punishment before you could ever give it. If you've ever boxed, you know what it is, man. It's not, you don't go in there and you are punching air, you can't hit anything, and you're just getting pieced up. You have to learn to take damage before you could ever give it. That's why I think it's the best martial art. But I also think that's why boxing people are sometimes ridiculous. Because again, like the method of their martial art is very insular, it's very different, and it's very protected. But back to the point that Jakey made, it's like, no, you can watch both. It's like, okay, the MMA fans might watch a little bit of the boxing. I count on zero of that boxing audience coming over. Personal story, one of my favorites that proves my point. Francis Ngannou fights Tyson Fury the first time, right? I'm backstage at a boxing fight. And I'm one of the only MMA guys in the back. I think I'm the only MMA guy in the back, but they have the boxing fight on. It's on at 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the middle of the day. So we're all just sitting in the locker rooms watching the fight. And I just kept remembering, it'd be like, the Ngannou was talking about, like, who is this guy? Like, what does he even do? It's like, you don't know who he is? It's like, no idea who he is. It's like, that's the lineal heavyweight champion of the UFC. He just walked on the UFC. He has some of the most devastating knockouts of all time. His story is unbelievable. How do you not know who this guy is? It's like, he's some bum, right? He's just some bum for Fury to fight, right? That's what boxing thinks of us guys. Just so we know. But I understand. We're kind of branching out into that, but even with the Cage Titans, I can give the Ring Titans thing. Muay Thai people love Muay Thai. They don't really care about MMA. Some of them hate MMA. Grappling Titans, Jiu-Jitsu guys love Jiu-Jitsu. MMA people love MMA. And there is some crossover, there is some variation, and there is ways to combine them. But the reality is the fans are very segregated. They just are by their very nature. And that's something that I've learned over 15 years of doing this. So I'm not just talking out of my ass, you guys. I'm really not.
Across both platforms. And yes, I've been talking about MMA and doing it for a long time, but it's official. Now with this new partnership, I'm going to get into the cage. Nate Diaz, stop ducking. We need to make this happen for sports.
That's a fight if Nate decides to keep it on.
Change the history and the.
If he keeps it on the feet, it's a good fight. Nate's a little on, but again, the jiu-jitsu gap is ridiculous, man. The boxing, absolutely. Small gloves, Jake can absolutely tag him, hurt him, cut him up if he's going to bleed. But it's all about if Nate wants to go out there. It's like, Dude, just body lock him, get a hold of him. He's not going to get him off him. That's my feeling. But again, I've been wrong before. Maybe he's been secretly working jiu-jitsu. He's a purple belt. I wouldn't be shocked if Jake's
don't worry,
purple
I am
belt.
still boxing.
Secretly.
Everyone's asking me, Jake, when are you coming back? And it is as soon as possible. We are in contract talks.
That was a good